All right, I'm not sure you can hear that through the break there, but of course there's a double extractor trick that just went down, which for me just says no early pool. Spawning in the bottom right side of this best of 5 to kick off the finals of the group, it's going to be the Blue Zerg, NoRegreT.
You never double gas cancel into a 14 pool? Ever?
I think you do it after, man. Not before.
In the top left as the red Protoss, he is Super.
Like, not only is that just like an ineffective way to do it in general, but yeah, if you're going to do it, you do it like after, not before. Otherwise you'll end up with a 16 pool. Silly.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Get an extra 2 drones. Makes sense. Makes sense. I suppose just waiting until 16.
No, but what I'm saying is what you said, you literally can't 14 pool if you have 16 drones.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 16 pool. Yeah. Wait, let the gases finish.
Get way
Sorry, I was
too
mistaken.
way too literal with this. Yeah, get the double gas going for that super duper fast speed timing. Not worth it at all because you'll have like 5 lanes.
Yeah, but you'll have like 200 gas. Where's the downside?
All right, so NoRegreT allegedly happy to get this to be the finals of the group. I definitely think he's got a chance to fight somebody like Super, whereas I don't think he beats Alive, even with the curse of the groups and the joke for the brackets. Like, Alive just won that series too hardcore, and NoRegreT was trying too hard to all in a lot. I think the same sort of all-ins, the same sort of logic can certainly apply to this particular matchup, but PvZ is a lot, I think, better suited for his playstyles as well. After what NoRegreT still then TVZ was. So Super hopefully will not do what Armani did and potentially underestimate his opponent or overestimate himself going into this. NoRegreT is actually a contender here. Make no mistake.
Yeah. In general, I have a lot more faith in CVP, but especially for someone who was like very much so like, I don't want to Terran, I don't want to Terran, I don't want to Alive, I don't want to Alive. So he must be feeling a lot happier after seeing the end of that game. And he had to watch the very end, which is I think why the vetoes took a while, because he didn't know where that game was going until the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, well, I mean, for him, it makes a lot of sense. He was really having to prepare and bank on one of those 2 winning, and the fact that it did go to the ace match must have really messed with him as far as like emotions go. You're like, oh, come on, man! I thought Alive was gonna. No, oh, okay, here we go. Yeah.
Wow, that roller coaster. Perfect. For Super opened up with a Stargate. I mean, Super did look very strong versus Armani, so I'll give NoRegreT a better chance than versus Alive, but I would still give Super a 3-1, since that's what I predicted with Alive Super.
I'm going to concur. I do favor Super going into this, but I'm actually 100% cheering for NoRegreT. I think it'd be cool to see a foreigner make it to the round of 16 through the Korean groups, but more importantly, it's just for him, I think, just to continue proving that he's improved.
Yeah, just proving his time in Korea is time well spent, because I know there's quite a few naysayers in our chat, as well as I'm sure on his Twitter and whatnot.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the unfortunate amount of pressure that I think any foreigner gets. So, like, if you go to Korea as a foreigner and you're not the next GSL champion, it was a waste of your time. Oh, you couldn't beat Zest after being there for only 1 week? Then what were you even wasting your money on? Ramen?
Exactly. Yeah, ramen. You go to Korea to eat ramen.
Oh, Crank does, apparently.
Yeah, Crank does.
Okay, so a couple lanes get to the main. They're going to kill a probe, 2 probes. Not too bad. Gets a really nice scout with this as well. Did he actually see the third? He didn't see the third, but he sees a lack of buildings in the main, which may lead him to think that there's a third.
Yeah, and this attack from NoRegreT should get a cancel on it. Like, if it doesn't get a cancel on that third base / kill, because it's almost done, I don't know what is happening. This is going to be so many lings. Eventually, they're going to have +1. I almost wish he'd tried to break down the back rocks, but honestly, they would have been scouted either way.
And look at this.
Flying around.
This attack not only brings them back to defend that third base, but it's also going to mean that they're not bothering to attack anything in the natural. Like, he's not going for drone kills. There's not a wall set up here properly, so there's a lot of lings to get to the main. I still think the third's a better target, but he'll get some probe kills, which will be nice.
I thought he was going to go for the third for sure, but I mean, getting into both the main and the natural, I think this all-in is already working pretty damn well. +1 is so close to finishing up.
Probes are being pulled, but where to?
Did not expect this. The pylon's going to go down. That's the only pylon. It's powering, I think, all of that. Maybe the second pylon is powering the gateway. Oh, no.
Well, you know what?
Not the Stargate.
It wasn't a warp gate anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered, but still. 13 probes killed. That was, well, good damage. Not enough damage, I feel.
Yeah, I thought I was going to keep on spiraling up to like 20 or 25.
Well, you know what?
That I agree
It
with.
might, though, actually, because you have to consider with the Oracles having used all their energy, it really is only the Void Ray and these 2 Adepts. So there's no overcharge near that pylon. There's not really a lot left to defend, and he is going to finally go for that third where there's a single cannon for defense. So again, like these oracles burn what little energy they have on these lings here, meaning there's nothing left to kill the rest of them.
Wow, there's not so many though. He did try and go for a lair. Now there's that prediction spike of 26 lings, but
Let's also check the income graph. Consider, look at this, exactly what I thought is every time Super pulls his probes away to safety, he loses a lot of mining, and NoRegreT spikes up on that income, ridiculously so. So it's still, I would agree, like it still hasn't quite hit that mark. It's got +1 finally. He's culled a lot of that drone count down, but at the same time, Super hasn't really built up a bigger army for it. He's defended and built more probes back, but he's still sitting on 2 oracles of Void Ray and like 2 adepts. His army has not grown while this goes on.
it is all good points. Actually, I'm not sure, but if the third base goes down, then I am pretty sure that NoRegreT has done enough damage. You got a Hydrogen on the way as well, and as you said, there's not really much to be thrown at NoRegreT to stop him.
He doesn't actually kill the Nexus, which I find interesting. Try to sketch the Adept in the Sentry in the middle of the map. That was actually kind of nice. Oracles finally have a little bit more energy. But he's not very up. What does a photographer say when he wants you to smile for a picture?
Say cheese.
And say cheese just up for 2 months in a row. Woo woo!
Hey.
That segue joke. This is really, again, it's killing a lot of workers. It's still hard to say that this is a tremendous amount, though. I mean, he still has 35 probes where this came from.
I think at this point, it is enough.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not convinced
NoRegreT.
because there's Hydras coming out. He didn't just stick to Lings. There's going to be Ling Hydra so he can finally tear down those air units, but more importantly, that their base is sure to die. More probes killed over here. GG gets called. NoRegreT's going to take game number 1 versus Super.
Nicely done, Super. Gotta plug your holes, man.
Yeah, very nicely done. What's map number 2? I'll go get that loaded up.
Dusk Towers.
Okay, we'll skip the intros. We'll hop right into Dust Tower. Sorry, excuse me. We'll skip the ads. We'll get Dust Towers ASAP. So I load all this stuff up and hopefully be done in time. I do want to mention that we don't have a bracket scene for this, which we had kind of forgotten about too. I just messaged Jesse about it. So the next group you see tomorrow should have a bracket scene in between games. It'll be a little bit easier to track what's going on in case you had gotten up and left or something like that. But I would also, again, shout out the whole clips contest. We'll bring this up all week, guys. Any of these TING games that we're casting, if anything cool happens in your eyes, whether it's something silly we've done or whether it's something awesome the players have done, clip it. It's a chance to win $25 in Amazon gift cards. We got Twitch Turbo codes and some other unannounced prizes, which will be really cool to give away. But just a quick reminder that while we get into this second game, tomorrow's TING group is actually going to be the European group. And for those who don't know the players, it's going to be Hearthstone versus TLO and BCQD versus Bly. I think that's going to be a very fantastic group.
Just waiting on NoRegreT. Come on, say you're ready. Ready for Dusk Towers. Go. There we go.
All right. So, with that being said, we'll see you guys in game in just a moment or two. All right, folks, we're back. Game number 2. Best of 5 as I quickly sort out the overlay. There we go. In the bottom left side of Dusk Towers, we are going to have none other than the blue Protoss, Super, currently down 1 in the series.
In the top right, as the Red Zerg, he is a NoRegreT.
So, part of that game for me was Super's build choice. You know, it was something that, not a bad one, don't get me wrong, but with King Sejong being the map coupled with it, it's quite clear how and why NoRegreT was able to get by with those Lings. And I can't say the same mistakes would obviously be made here on Dusk, where you've got that safer ramp that covers all your bases.
Yeah, 2 notes. 1, I wonder, we talked about NoRegreT watching the last series, but he also could have watched the first series, which was Super versus Armani. Maybe he knows and realized and actually meant to counter Super's very standard, very consistent opener, which was the Stargate, Oracles and a Void Ray, which doesn't, wouldn't deal that well with like mass Lings. Not sure. Second, Dusk Towers might be easier to get those 3 bases and you shouldn't let Lings in, but it happened. It doesn't happen as much anymore, but there was definitely a period of time with Dusk Towers you would actually almost always see the attempted Ling attack on the third base to cancel it once or twice. Like it wasn't the default third base that it is now. And there's also a ton of other choices for NoRegreT. I mean, I was thinking like Nidus Worms or even just a bit of a Ling drop. But I mean, if he also feels confident in a mid game, because he can also play pretty greed on this map, then more power to him.
I guess what I find really interesting too on that note is you've got Super, who has displayed, I think, a different build in every game he's played today, right? Like, I don't think he's ever done the same thing twice. NoRegreT really does feel like he's somewhat more limited in that regard. I don't see him doing 12 different versions of the same all-in, you know what I mean? Like, it's always going to be the same way to hit with all those lings and cut drones, etc. So it's all these things we could say about macro and micro, but I also see this as that second aspect of like a player who's got extra builds up his sleeve, whereas one who doesn't.
Ooh.
And not that that's a bad thing. Again, he's up 1-0 in the series, guys, and he got here to the finals match over Armani. Like, there's a lot to be said for NoRegreT's way he plays, just very different than that of Super.
Well, Super is being consistent, going for the Stargate once again. I know he threw out the Twilight Council all in, so I think we'll see that at least once in the best of 5, especially if it goes to all 5 games. But not this game. Not this game.
I
Definitely get some
would.
scouting.
I would love for this to go to all 5, though. Like, and not because, oh, I want more games and StarCraft, #passion. I just think it'd be cool to see somebody like NoRegreT hold his own against Super so well.
Yeah.
Alternatively, if he wins 3-0, that's also impressive.
Right.
Again, I want to be very clear, guys. I'm Canadian. I'm rooting for the foreigner. I'm rooting for NoRegreT, like 100%.
You dirty, you're foreign lover.
You
whatever.
almost basically European. You guys still have the Queen, right, on your money?
Yeah,
Stupid
yeah,
European
seriously.
Canadians.
Yeah, Canadians, dear God. Canadians suck.
Actually, I don't understand. Like, so it's kind of funny the way America and Canada went, right? One was like the kid who's like, I don't need you, mom and dad, like ran away from home. Like, they tried to bring him back, and the kid fought back. You know, that's America. Canada's just like, hey, so, you know, since I was good, would it be cool if I, like, you know, just went away for the weekend? And they're like, yeah, sure. And, like,
And they just left forever or something. I don't know Canadian history.
yeah, that's... I miss our CSL cast because those were the best history lessons we could ever give anybody. But
Yeah. I mean, you want to learn about, you know, Civil War? I got you, man. I live in Virginia. And I know all about it. True facts. Like,
yeah, Harsum and Drogo doing really well fighting against each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to bring up.
The people of Virginia built statues around Harsum's honor.
Yeah. Do you know what Virginia's known for?
Virgins?
Actually, our motto is Virginia is for lovers, which,
Oh.
now that I think about it,
Save yourself for Jesus, folks. Not until after marriage.
abstinence only. That's Virginia. Anyway, your joke is much better than mine. I'm just gonna leave it with that.
Abstinence is like, I actually get mad about this. It's the worst thing to preach. I'm not saying practicing abstinence is bad,
So,
but preaching it and teaching it is so stupid to me.
I absolutely agree, but for me, like, I wasn't eager anyway, so I didn't really care what I was being taught.
You
I
weren't an
figured it would
eager
be easy
beaver?
to be abstinent, to be honest. But I think other teenagers were like, no way, man.
So this just goes back to every time I call you lazy, by the way. Just like, it's
It's
easier
lazy to have sex. Like,
it's a lot easier not trying to make myself look great for like a guy or a girl, depending on your movie, and like blah blah blah. Anyways, silliness aside,
Yeah.
big scout off on this. The
Yes.
killing 11 workers was nice. Seeing the Nidus Worm was crucial.
Yeah. And hey, I didn't actually think he was gonna do it, but he did. A Nidus Worm with lings and queens. Now, even if you know it's here, it's still gonna be hard to defend against because Super
But-
really doesn't have that much production.
So this is where I don't like. This is the one part I don't like it in. Like, let's say it was unscouted. Let's say you actually got away with this with no drone losses. It's still 3 bases he's gonna have to dance around. He'll kill one fairly easily, but killing the other 2, that's the really tough task at hand. Now the pylons start up, and they're not gonna finish in time. Holy Jesus! I didn't realize how many queens he had till just now. 10 queens
Wow.
pop out of that sucker.
I didn't realize either. I just saw like 2 go
If-
in, and I was like, that's
If a second Nidus Worm makes it way to the 3rd, then I think NoRegreT's got this game on lockdown. The amount of queens available right now is not nearly as important as the amount of transfuses available through these queens, meaning they can actually take on these Void Rays forever.
Yeah. I mean, at the after the Void Rays, which is what the sentries are gonna try and stop, but eventually they'll walk and
don't-
find the Void Rays in a corner.
I'm interested. I don't know how I feel about the Lings. They take the fight, but there's a lot of losses because he decided to fight without the queens. New Nidus Worm does come down to the 3rd, so it's easy to maneuver around. Get Lings over on this side. Oracle's going to try and focus it down. Not before many pop out. Queen's got to get over on that side. They need some transfuses on that sucker. But the Lings were coming out, so the Queens couldn't. Single file, please, ladies.
Okay, this is starting to get awkward, and kind of like your prediction is coming true here. It gets 1 Nexus pretty damn easily, but what about the other 2? Zealot's covering the probes against those Lings.
Without Queen assistance, it's going to be so tough. I mean, the Immortal coming out is going to be funny because, again, it's not going to bust through Queens very easily. For those who don't know, Queen's not only outrange Void Rays, the transfuse on this is going to be insane. Like, watch this. This Queen should never die if everything's done here correctly. He's fighting in range of a second overcharge. Absolutely unnecessary. That's burning a lot of his transfuses. She dies because they relocate, but continue to take a pretty decent fight. Reinforcements are coming in finally for NoRegreT, but these Zealots are going to be so tough to actually deal with. The Mothership Core goes down, no more overcharges. New Void Rays coming out, still 9-something Queens in play. This isn't getting any easier for Super, but NoRegreT still isn't making any progress.
Yeah, he's not getting just far enough. He's almost killed 2 of those Void Rays, and Lings are finally going to start helping out here. Actually, most of them died.
The probes surround on top of the Queens. They're so physically large, it allows the probes to surround them and get that full surround. That's going to clean this up. NoRegreT's lost.
Even without the Void Rays, the Zealot Warp-ins were coming in pretty strong. So NoRegreT's going to try and macro out of this, but he was only on 20 drones, especially because he lost 12.
Yeah, and even if he were to kill this whole third, it still wouldn't be enough probe losses to make that worthwhile. So still sending Lings in. That Nidus Room still hasn't been cleaned up. I mean, you knocked the natural down and maybe feels like you still got a shot in the game, but this does look very much over.
Yeah, it does. It was close, you know. If those Queens had actually just been a little bit, you know, I don't know, like maybe if they could move faster, they could actually reach the Void Rays, or maybe if they actually came in with that Nidus Room at the third base, things would be different. But Super was still 2 bases mining fairly well, and most importantly, a very good army. Looks like he's going to counterattack and win.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the tactics out of NoRegreT, and it came dangerously close to working.
It did. It was very scary. Very scary.
Quite a bit of clashing. But unfortunately, even with Hydras coming up, it's not about that so much as the Void Rays as it really is these Zealots. They don't even need charge. They're just going to kill anything they touch. And there really isn't that much to touch in the first place.
Yeah, no touching. I mean, trying to go to Hydras is probably NoRegreT's best move and hope that the Lings will be able to hold on. But he just like taps out when he sees the army.
He's just like, no, that's too much for me. Okay, so ties up the series now 1-1, Super and NoRegreT. We're going to hop off to a small break, guys. 2 minutes. We'll get game number 3 set up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the TING Open Finals when we return. All right, folks, we're back. We're just going to load directly into the map as we get for game 3.
Now I'm just trying to think of Overwatch pickup lines. This is supposed to be your department. Slowly turning into Rifkin.
You've come up with one.
Well, I mean, and then Boris came up with another. So I was trying to think of one with Tracer because he started it.
It must be difficult for Tracer to get dates because she always finishes first.
Is that always... It's not so much a problem for the girl. That's not the stereotype.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 3. It's tied up 1-1. Spawning here on the bottom left side of the map, it's going to be the teal, the light blue Zerg, Sizestorm Gaming's NoRegreT.
Teal. In the bottom right, or top right, as the red Protoss, he is Super.
I didn't even call you out for it, man. Didn't even give you smack.
I'm surprised I noticed. I was going through that pretty fast.
You're like, I gotta see it quick before he says something, before he judges me more.
You're always so judgy.
You're so concerned with this today. This is getting kind of ridiculous.
You always call me judgy, so it's finally time I take some shots
But
back.
you are. That's the difference.
You're judgy too.
You're literally judging me right now.
Instead of saying, oh,
you are being judgy at this exact
judgy.
moment
I'm
in
just gonna
time.
say you're judgy, and it makes me feel really bad, and I just don't want to cast anymore with all this harassment.
Oh, is baby gonna cry? Baby gonna have some tears?
Crying is for weaklings.
Yeah, walk it off.
And drunk people.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, no, she's right on this. She's speaking from experience, guys.
I bet.
It's so tough, too, like, because Zomgrab is a very tough person. A hard shell to crack and, like, thick skin. When you see her get wicked drunk and she gets all feely and then, like, transitions from that to cry.
One time. Tequila. I blame tequila.
You had a little more than tequila. You had, like...
Yeah, but I mixed it all with tequila, so I'm gonna blame that.
There you go. I actually was at the high school reunion and everyone wanted to do shots, and I was like trying to explain I'm not a good drinker. So like, okay, instead of doing rum, let's do tequila. I'm like, how does that? How
does that help?
I was gonna say, what do you think I just said? You say, oh, I'm really good at drinking and I love hard alcohol. What the?
Oh, rum is so. Or no, sorry. Tequila is so good. Tequila and gin are like 2 alcohols that I just don't know why anyone drinks.
Tequila is one of these things where I feel because there's different personalities out there, right? And if you're a go hard or go home type of partier, you're gonna like tequila. If you're like casually drinking and just want to hang out with friends, like myself, tequila's not for
Vodka.
you.
Vodka.
Vodka. All right. Anyways, alcohol talk aside, Frost got cross spawns on it, so what's gonna be kind of nice is if you're in NoRegreT shoes, you can kind of maybe pull off the same tactics. If you hope that your opponent's not willing to call your bluff, you can try and go for that Nidus again. And maybe it does work, maybe it doesn't. But I think on this map as well, at the same time, you can start considering a little bit, maybe not totally macro play. No one likes fighting against a bunch of immortals, and I don't think ever seen NoRegreT ever use lurkers. But there's something to be said about the mid game, where you can get really aggressive and get in your opponent's face before they really have much to deal with. He pulls the drones and hoping to get us round. This already starts off really poorly for him, because the lings are still not even out yet.
The Twilight Council coming down so early. I think this is the exact map that Super did it last time. Well, I've definitely seen a Death Element for this map, I gotta say. I don't remember if it was Super or not. But Resident Enclaves, more gateways, a War Prison coming here. And I mean, I think the Adepts warped in will outweigh the Lings, unless there was Banelings here as well.
It was 2 Adepts getting so many kills. 10 workers and 3 Lings. I mean, I really do like NoRegreT. I'm cheering for him, etc., etc. Maybe I should stop. It's the caster curse type thing, but this was not a good opening for him. In fact, I will just straight up say this was a terrible opening for him. It looks like he wants to maybe potentially elevator Lings up, which could be cool, but it's still not gonna work.
It's really bad. He has to stop and make drones. I don't know if he's really planning to. I mean, this was supposed to do more damage. It actually gets in though. The stalker.
Okay, that's a bit surprising.
Decides to just run. I mean, it does leave. Okay, that's a lot of Lings. They're gonna get a couple probes. Definitely some revenge here.
The pylon was placed down to try and wall this out, which was a good move, a very good move. But there's he skipped the mothership core to get the Stark Shrine as fast as possible. The War Prism's heading across the map, so there's no overcharge. This pylon's gonna break. Funny enough, if NoRegreT had actually committed to this harder, this could be game. But back at home, let's hope he senses he needs detection. He actually... Wait, did he get a... Where's the Dark Shrine? I canceled it, I guess.
Canceled it, yeah. It was scouted. It wasn't going to work out. I mean, we saw the same tactic against Armani, and that actually was a game that he lost. So I guess it's just not good luck with this specific tactic. But thank you to, really quick, more COD for the 3-month resub. So we see the Adepts now being warped in. But things have gone topsy-turvy. If NoRegreT's attack with Lings met Super's attack with Adepts, then I think the Adepts would eventually win out. But because it got really weird and just been about probe losses and drone losses, and scouting went down as well, maybe NoRegreT can actually hold against these Adepts once he has the Banelings.
He's done a great job of picking them off as they warp in. Initially, a lot of these were low, but unfortunately, even with the Baneling nest completed, that was a lot of his Lings that just died. So he doesn't have the Banelings yet, and the Adepts could focus them down fairly easily while it cocoon for him. No speed, also not going to be an option. This is going to be really tough. Third base under attack simultaneously, and NoRegreT's getting torn apart on 2 different fronts. Drones getting pulled into this, and that spread from the Adepts is so nice.
Yeah, I guess this isn't going to be enough. NoRegreT. He was close to having, 20 plus Lings, maybe the Banelings a little bit sooner, but it looks like Super's Adept warp-ins are going to beat out NoRegreT's production.
Yeah, I mean, drones died getting pulled into this. And it looks like that is going to be game, unfortunately, for poor NoRegreT. But that will put Super up 2-1. And because this is, again, emphasis best of 5s, not over just yet. He still has a few more games up his sleeve. But looks like he's going to hang on. Best of his intentions. This is, you know what, actually, this is where that worker in-game counter will be great. Because you can suddenly realize, like, oh, I only have.
Oh, I'm actually dead. Thanks for telling me, StarCraft.
GG. All right, Super takes a 2-1 lead now in the series. What's the next map? We'll skip ads and I'll just load this up really quick.
Oh, let's see here. Scrolling. Wait, it can't be that far back. Oh, there it is. Frozen.
Okay. Person in chat saying next time you two are in Austin, get really fucked up. No, we already got really fucked up, man.
No, I'm good on that.
I will say though, I hope there is another time we're in Austin. That was a great city. I really enjoyed it. I would be very, very happy if something happened there again for us to go to.
Closing down 5th Street or whatever was good deal.
Yeah, it was cool. Oh, that was super funny. I had it was actually a good piece of conversation for me. I was talking to someone like, "Oh, you've also been in Austin, so do you know about 6th Street or whatever?" And they're like, "Yeah," like we talked about that for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's okay. Lobby for Frozen Temple. Soon as Super gives us the go-ahead, we'll get into it. Here we go. MC's wonderful voice. And Elsa's, I suppose. See you guys in a sec. Alright, getting back into the series. You guys are, of course, tuned into the TING Open. TING is a U.S. mobile phone service available only in the United States, and you should absolutely check out their website, bttv.ting.com. This is to let them know you came from BaseTradeTV. You get $25 in credit off of anything, including stuff in their store, like a phone, for example. In the upper left side of Frozen Temple, though, it's going to be the Blue Zerg, Sidestorm Gaming's NoRegreT. And he's going to get scouted very early.
The bottom right, as the Red Protoss, he is Super.
I really like that Super actually goes for this early scout, and not for any reason other than again, like, it was very evident early on that there's going to be some fear playing against a player like NoRegreT. You don't really know the extent to which somebody can dedicate until you've played against them, and Super, not taking any risks, goes for this early scout to make sure he doesn't throw it all away to something silly like an early pool.
Yeah, that would be a sucky throwaway. But if it was an early pool, Super was already planning on going for multiple gateways, so he actually probably would have been fine seeing that. 2 gateways for that early Adept pressure. I mean, 2 Adepts last game did so much damage. Way too much damage, in fact. And that might have been the difference between NoRegreT winning, overwhelming Super, and losing, like he did. So it is pretty important. And NoRegret's going to take the same damage. It's already going to be a tough start. I don't think he hasn't scouted it yet. He didn't drone scout. So that Overload's going to take a long time.
Okay, well, we'll see what ends up happening. I've got my fingers crossed. As much as you can say what you want about skill level in the game, at the end of the day, like, Lings are only going to be good to a certain degree versus Adepts. And Adepts are always going to be good to a certain degree against, well, pretty much everything, it feels like nowadays. So it kind of sucks knowing that, like, there's that small potential where, like, if early on you get on top of it, great. As a Zerg player, you don't actually struggle that badly. But then if you don't get on top of it right away, you're basically SOL.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a few Lings initially, but I think it is because he's just now scouting, and it's going to be good that he gets a couple extra Lings, because he's going to need to tear down those Adepts as quick as possible. He sees the Shade moving out, has an idea of what's going on. Of course, NoRegret's going to go for Ling speed. Let's see if he'll try and counter with an Evolution Chamber. I'm going to say yes. More than just counter, he's going to try an Overlord drop. Some of those Lings going off to the left side.
There's nothing in position for it just yet, though, so I'm not sure
yet.
just how much. But getting on top of the Adepts early, this is very important. Again, these first 2 Adepts are not meant to do that much damage, but they completely wrecked him last game. Full surround on 1 is really not too bad. Lings just managed to walk into the main. Who needs an Overlord drop if you can just walk right through the front door? Unfortunately, it's not that many Lings, though. It looks like they will trade up for an Adept, but still get cleaned up themselves.
Yeah. But this is going to get a lot harder to clean up once they have speed, and you would have really hoped for more Lings to be alive here so Super isn't thinking about the follow-up, but easily cleans up that. Can he get a wall down at his natural to help? Overlord's now in position to turn into a drop Overlord.
Yes.
I'm not sure this is going to work from NoRegreT, but dedication can sometimes be like the greatest benefit of these all-ins. Just go hard.
Well, while the Overlord drops in, doors are just open. Again, wide open. It's...
Well, that's one of the first steps in not dying to a Ling all-in.
Yeah, he finally has Gateway finish up, but most of the Adepts are already dead. He's trying to depower the Gateways. I actually really like this priority over focusing on top of the Adepts, because that means there's not going to be reinforcements anywhere else. Lings that are trapped at the main can also be brought over through the Overlord, but he's starting to chip through, and oh, these probes are doing such a great job the way they've been pulled. I mean, the Adept goes down, but NoRegreT dedicated so much for this. At the same time, Super lost a lot of mining, so a lot of indirect damage done while this goes on, considering he's lost so much mineral income. But NoRegreT continues flooding with Lings. He should be able to kill this Nexus. There's a Dark Shrine coming in the main, and funny enough, if this Overlord would just scooch over a little bit, he would see it.
If he bothers to ever Ling drop, he should see it and be prepared for it. And I was going to say, if he can get the Nexus, and it looks like he will be able to get the Nexus, I think a Ling all-in is still absolutely worth it.
I get the strand of the Adepts on the wrong side of that wall. These pylons don't power both gateways, funny enough. There we go. Now he should be able to see this. This is going to be a huge scout. Ling's still chipping away at the main. I'm surprised he's not trying to go for the Nexus with them. At least segment 1 or 2 off to it, maybe? Question mark. But Probe's getting pulled on top of the Sentry. Will be able to save it, albeit just barely. Trying to break down this pylon from both sides. Wants to bust into that wall. Did he scout the Dark Shrine while this goes on, though? He's seen it, but did he click it? That's the question.
Yeah, I guess that is the real
you know
question.
what, though?
NoRegreT isn't on a lair, and he's got Spore Crawlers.
Hold the phone, though. That Dark Shrine means nothing if the gateways die, and he can't build anything out of them. So GG. Ace match time, baby! NoRegreT giving us game number 5.
Ooh, which is going to be on... Oh, crap. Gotta figure it out.
Well, while she figures that out, guys, we're going to duck away to a small break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Alright, before we do the introductions to the players, again, thank you to Ting for making all of this possible with their tournament, with their prize money, and of course, their selection of us to host and create it. Truly epic game moments where, like, burrowed banelings kill like 40 Marines or anything like that. But there's pretty good clips to go check out and vote on. In the bottom right side of Ruins of Endion, those are spawning red, playing for Storm Gaming, and bringing this to game number 5. It's going to be NoRegreT.
And he's 14-14.
I know.
Oh, God. In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, it is Super.
I mean, this is how you live or die if your name's NoRegreT.
Yeah.
If you're Jake from Canada.
What's funny about doing this is that, okay, it's risky to go for an early pool, even if you don't think your opponent's going to scout you. It's so risky, because what if they're going for a build that actually works well against it, or, you know, or they do scout you, of course, being the worst option, and Super does. Well, on Ruins of Endion, if things still go very, very poorly for you, and they might, you can break down the rocks and buy you like an extra 30 seconds, like minute, I mean, depending on how fast you break the rocks down or how fast they break the rocks down in return to macro, where like other maps don't really allow you that possibility. So initially when we saw this map, there's like a ton of early pools, right on the rocks, try and macro. Now it's actually more of a macro game.
But I hope no German fans are watching our stream right now. But big love to TING TV. Yeah, so for those who don't know, TING TV is the only other language cast in this. We kind of got them in a meeting with Ting because Ting was very much English only last season. So it's big love back to the German fans, guys. No silly text jokes. It actually seriously intended. This is going to provide some really interesting pressure, though, because Zealots are being made. They're also taking away from Supra's mineral count pretty significantly. But they're not going to be fast enough to deal with speedlings. The speed kicks in a second, so he could ring around the Rosie all day and eventually kill that Nexus.
Yeah. It's also getting Evolution Chamber, so it'll be a slow drop, lift into the main base with a few more of those lings.
I like that potential, though.
I mean, I like the potential as well, but you gotta remember that Super has been prepared for this, and hopefully he's thinking not just about the first attack, the slow lings and your front door, but also the possibility of Overlord drops in the main.
Okay, well, one of the links does die, and the mothership is not exactly crazy damage, but it is uncontested damage. Overlord going to start morphing it over here. We might see that elevator play. It's funny, though, without a lot of adepts to chase him around, I actually really like this a lot more, because if you get in trouble, you can just run back into the Overlord retreat. Like, you're not going to get shot in your back while you're running away. The Zealots literally can't keep up with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is the true problem here. If at any point one unit gets away from the rest, an easy surround goes down pretty quickly. Of course, the backup option of just going into the main base is ready to go. Lifts up. He could actually, because this isn't scouted, yeah, lift the rest of the lings up and suddenly have a lot more lings in the main base.
Super just thinks he backed away for a moment. It kind of looks like that with a couple of lings still like running around the center. This is so great. The mothership, of course, so out of position. He knows this too, so he darts over to the main. Probe's gonna get picked off. There's actually no pylon over here. So funny enough, if he kills the pylon at the top of the ramp, it'll depower Cybergate or Cybercore, and it will Cybergate 2016, the denial of warp gate based on its gender. I don't know, but the point of it is like. This is actually something where that could have been far more dangerous had that been left unattended. But the probes have been killed, 13 go down, and NoRegreT's actually in a fighting stance still. In fact, more lings into the natural base. Only this pylon for the overcharge defense, and he runs away from it.
Yeah, that is the last overcharge, so I think NoRegreT's supposed to do a bit more damage. But he's getting to that point where it's like, okay, yeah, you've definitely done enough. He could probably get a third base if he can't spend the rest of his money on Larva. He can't. Not that it would really help him that much with 14 drones, but still, you know, better than nothing. He's trying to drone up right now. He still has the option of the Overlord, like it can't die, it's gonna kill it, but oh, finally Stalker's warped in.
This is really interesting. So he's knocking down the rocks behind this with the idea of just having done enough damage and wants to play macro behind it.
Yeah.
I don't actually think like it was good damage.
Oh, no, I don't think he meant to.
I don't think he meant to get trapped either. That just totally fucks all of his lings up, your Grove.
It's awkward. It's so awkward. His Overlord, I think, died as well. The drop Overlord.
Yep, they got picked off over here. I mean, you can morph another one in and maybe get these out. But this kind of ruins all of his plans. The worst part of that, too, is watching that awkward link scuffle around like, oh, wait, I'm on the wrong side of this. Like, I need to get out.
Well, maybe Super didn't notice.
Run
and will
past.
open the door.
Oh, this is cool. This kind of
or
works out,
that.
making the best of a bad situation. Gets to the mineral line. Probe's pulled immediately. Of course, killing a pylon's not worth it at this point. You have to get some actual damage done. With the probes not dying, this is just the Lings not being revealed that they were stuck here in the first place. Because you can only run around for a finite amount of time. He's going to focus on the Twilight Council on his last desperate plea. He's not going to get it, though.
Yeah, it's not. It's a solo, but of course the rocks are broken down. Solo and Brock nailed it. The rocks are broken down.
See,
so
that's what I did with the Cyber Core.
Right. Anyway, NoRegreT. Like he's bought a lot of time, but you know, thanks to the Lings actually doing some damage. But of course, the rocks being broken down, even just counterattack stopped the rocks from being broken down even further. He could still break down his own rocks to buy even more time. I mean, that's kind of the benefit of going for an early pool. I'm not saying that it guarantees you a macro game if your early pool fails, but it's something to consider on this map in particular. So, NoRegreT, he's trying to get to a better drone count, still not quite there, Super matching him. And he's trying to get to better tech as well as Super does too. But yeah, I think he does have to break down these rocks.
Yeah, I like that he's doing this too. The Mothership Core scouting so freely was a bit of a problem. I love that they put some Lings on the outside so you can run around this time. Now, if Super actually comes for an attack of the rocks, you'll see that coming. Maybe dart through and go to the natural base once again. I don't know. We got the follow-up, though, the Robo coming out of Super. So it does look like he's playing pretty standard. We're not going anything too crazy with this. Immortal production probably to follow up the Warp Prism. Be really nice to have, of course.
Yeah. I guess I'm a little surprised that Super didn't just try and play a macro game. He is going to try and just kill NoRegreT. I think both options would have been totally viable, just, you know, one over the others. As Super, I think he's been looking pretty good in PvZ macro games. Actually going for this return all in is interesting. And NoRegreT, he has even army supply, but it is a good army supply. It's not going to have its upgrade yet. Roaches are still in production. No Ravagers quite yet either. Rocks aren't quite broken down, and he wants to wait for that Warp Prism, but I don't know if NoRegreT has enough to deal with this.
No, this game started off looking really promising for him, but it's gotten to this point now where, as much as I do like Ravagers, I mean, all it's going to take is a couple of good force fields to lock them in place so they can't run away, and they just get killed. They just don't have any health to fight.
Yeah.
There we go. Exactly.
Problem.
That happens. Zealot's going to be a melee range. Of course, a little bit unfortunate at first, but gets some damage done. Time Warp's a bit awkward to see. He moves out of the Corrosive Biles. NoRegreT's production might kick in here and be okay, but it's the follow-up amount of units from Super. Like, if there's no follow-up, no reinforcements from Super, maybe NoRegreT holds this. Unfortunately, as close as he was to being the Foreign Hope, and as close as he was to escaping the Korean group of death, it does look like Super is going to be the one to move on to that second-place finisher finals on a later date. So GG gets called. Congratulations. Ah, I'm so sad, man. I was so stoked. Biggest dumb smile on my face seeing NoRegreT make it to that ace match and seeing him get to the finals.
It's close, man. It's just so close.
But okay. That's going to wrap up the very first day of the round of 32 here for the TING groups. We got 7 more where that came from. Again, tomorrow's group is going to involve Hearthstone, TLO, Bly, and BCQD. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to start, actually, funny enough, about half an hour from now, but tomorrow when it comes to timing. So you don't have to do that time conversion. But we already have a lot of, like I said, we already got a bunch of cool highlights in this thread. I'll be sure to check them out after the stream's done. I hope you guys will as well. There's really just funny little clips there to you win prizes with, basically. We'll talk more about other things when we return. In the meantime, we haven't actually heard anything from Kyra today, so let me cue up one of Kyra's commercials before we go to our break. Boop, 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 boop. Do Google Photos, I guess. I don't know. Yoink.
Okay.
Alright, guys, we're back. Thank you for watching, and that is going to wrap up today's Korean group. Again, thank you all for watching. It's a lot of fun. I'm really glad. We had Jesse join us for a little bit of chat today, too. He was fielding some questions for anyone had any on behalf of Ting. And I don't know, just overall good times. Always glad casting these groups. It's really fun having a structured format. As much as I do love all of the continuously, like the numerous open tournaments we cast and commentate and do qualifiers for, it is nice knowing the players going ahead of time. Not that I did any research or anything, but it's good knowing, like, tomorrow I get to look forward to seeing Hearthstone, Blythe, TLO, and BCQD. Like, knowing for a fact that those 4 are going to play is really awesome before I even get into the casting of it. So I hope for the fans it feels a little bit the same. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel here on Twitch, of course, VODs for these will be up a little bit soon. It's worth noting, I think Nice Username was having some ISP problems yesterday or the night before, so these might be a little bit late. We'll run a rebroadcast later today to be safe for it. So if you're watching this not in the early hours of the morning, this is probably the rebroadcast. But it is about time we finished up. So, Zombie Grub, thank you for joining me, but no thank you for stealing my money, as we discussed at the start of stream. If you guys don't know this, by the way, if you donate anything to Zombie Grub, it's probably just going to be wasted on more ways for her to thief and steal. I imagine lock-picking chests and things are probably something you spend a lot of money on.
Yeah, obviously, all my Armello treasure boxes.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But no, seriously, thank you for joining me, Zombie Grub. Sorry that I had to leave you hanging yesterday. Today, the allergies aren't so bad. My throat's still really sore, so hopefully that won't be a problem as we continue further into summer. But I guess quick thank you to Ting as well. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Played all their ads all day, so you should know who they are. But just in case you don't, TLDR, U.S. mobile phone service. If we get enough signups for their service during Season 2, they'll bring us to Season 3, and hopefully Season 4, and so forth, and so forth. I was really glad that we did so well in Season 1 that we pretty easily got a Season 2. Jesse, unfortunately, wasn't able to get back to me with numbers today, but hopefully we'll have some going forward so we know what we're aiming for, where we're currently at, etc. Our own channel sponsors need some love too, though. Cheers for Gaming. We all know the deal with that. DX Racers, get it for cheap. Canada and United States. Promo code BaseTradeTV. We're actually going to be setting up an affiliate link through Zombie Grub for Amazon, since this has been a topic brought up more regularly recently. So you guys will see an option for that. If you use Amazon all the time, you can support the channel by still shopping through Amazon. No extra cost to you whatsoever. But that's coming. Corsair, we know the deal with them. Buy their gear. It's awesome. We love it. I'm just going to show mine off. If I could put some flex on. No, it's not going to happen. And the Yord with their Woodwatch sale still going until Father's Day. Last but not least, the arcade blocks have been sent out. And Lord Asium actually got his yesterday. He tweeted us a picture of it. So hopefully next time you see him in chat, you can ask him like whether it's actually worth it or not. Because I actually think they are. They're pretty cool. They're pretty awesome. But shy of that, I think that's about everything. So any final words before we go, Zombie Grub?
Follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming. See you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course, follow me on Twitter, follow the channel, go to our YouTube, subscribe, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV, all that good stuff. We're going to go to host somebody. I don't know who yet. We'll find out. But when we do host them, go to the channel, give them some love, spam some Ace 1, Ace 2s, etc. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for the European group. Bye-bye.
Bye.